Welcome back to the channel. Today we're doing my May reading wrap up and it is just the month of May, so this video should not be an hour long. I'm gonna really try to not talk too much, but you guys know that I just be sometimes. I don't want to shut up sometimes. So I wanted to go through the books that I don't own that I read on my Kindle first, and then we'll go through the books that I physically read after that. Starting off with Carol. It's a dark mafia romance. He has an autistic son, and she has a son that she doesn't have custody of technically because she's got a rocky history and her sister took her son from her and then kicked her out of the house, the FMC. The FMC is like a waitress or something like that when they meet, and he then decides to hire her on as his autistic son's nanny. I did like the representation of autism. I felt like either the author had a personal experience with autism or actually did research. Sometimes I think that authors like exaggerate things because they're writing a fictional story. It sometimes comes off as like a little disingenuous as a result. So I really like the way the author did or handled their representation of autism in the story, but I did not like this book. Overall, I did not like this book. She is a parent. I don't remember her name. I'm sorry. And her sister took her kid from her. And now she gets hired on as a nanny in this mafia mob lord's house, right? She's living in this super fancy mansion, doesn't really have to worry about much. Things are being handed to her, bought for her, the whole mafia shtick. She didn't go back to get her boy. She didn't go to her sister's house and say, give me my kid, I'm taking him. I'm sorry, I cannot get behind. I can't get past that in order to read the rest of the story. I just have a really hard time getting behind an FMC who could have gone to pick up her kid, could have told her employer, hey, I have a kid, can he come with me? The guy probably would have said yes because it's a dark mafia romance. She didn't do any of that because she didn't want Kirill, or whatever his name is, to find out about her history. And I'm like, I'm sorry. I know it's fictional. I get it. I also know that in a lot of real situations, women can't go get their kids. But in this story, in this fictional story, I can't get behind that. I'm sorry. I couldn't enjoy it knowing that at any point in time, once she moved into his house, she could have gone and snatched her little kid up. She could have snatched her boy up and brought him, and it was just really frustrating. I had a hard time with that one. So I think I'm done with dark mafia romances for right now because they're not doing me very well. They're not serving me in any way. I think I'm done with the mafia romances for right now. No shade to you if you like them though. I've read a couple of them that I have really enjoyed, but lately, like, they just irritate me. The characters irritate me. Now, one that I did really like was Kiss Me First, and that is a college hockey romance. There we go. College sports romance, whatever. Grayson and Harlow, they meet on this like insomnia board, online board through the university that they both go to. And they don't know who each other is at first, right? They meet and there's a connection in that, an online connection at least. And then lo and behold, they meet in person, but they don't know who each other is. And Harlow is dealing with an eating disorder and a lot of other things going on in her life. Grayson also has his own baggage, but what I genuinely loved about this romance was the fact that when they finally did start coming together and like start feeling their feels, it felt natural. It felt like there was chemistry between the characters especially, but the best part was that Grayson gave Harlow the space to feel how she needed to feel, right? He gives her the space to make decisions. Like he would provide her with some type of information and then say, I'm not going to force you and take your time. I want you to do what's best for you with what I've given you at this point. And I just really appreciated that because that is what you would look for in a real partner. You know, like you would look for somebody that can give you the space to work through your own thoughts and figure out how you feel and decide if you want to be with them or not, and without forcing you, without making it seem like, oh my God, you have to be with me or else. Like I never got that vibe from Grayson, and I really liked their relationship. I loved their relationship. But he was my favorite. I really liked the type of male character that he was. And I think the author did a fantastic job just bringing together two characters who had chemistry on page and just letting their relationship kind of play out. I loved it. It was incredible. And hockey romances are so safe with me because it's very rare that I pick up a hockey romance and I'm like, no. I think the last time I didn't like one was one that I picked up randomly and I returned it. I don't return books, but I returned that book. I'm so sorry. That one was bad. Anyways, I really enjoyed it. And again, hockey romances and me, we go together real good. We go together real good usually. What was the last one? Oh, the other one that I read on my Kindle was actually an ARC, and that was Shadow Reaper. And that was a really cool one. That's by Lynette Noni. And if you haven't read the Prison Healer series, I definitely recommend. Something that was in the Prison Healer series that was also in Shadow Reaper is just like really explosive plot reveals and twists. And I just think that Lynette Noni does a fantastic job of incorporating those, but keeping the story going. It never feels like we stop just for this plot twist or reveal in this case. But anyways, you have a young girl, I think her name was Varys. Let me look it up. So you follow Viridia, and she is a hunter of Reapers. In this world, Reapers are people who feed off kind of like the life force or like energy of others, but they target children because children in this world tend to have more of that energy, magic, force, whatever you want to call it. They have more of it, so they target kids. She hunts these Reapers down, and she just so happens to get caught by one of these Reapers. She gets snatched up by one of these Reapers. And he's a really important Reaper on top of that. And when you get to know Reeve, it's incredible. His backstory and who he is himself in the moment, like on page and not his history. He's an incredible character, in my opinion. He's so strong and resilient. I really, really liked his character. But anyways, they come together. Turns out that they may have a little bit of a history together as well. And it just takes off from there. And I really can't say anything else because I fear I would spoil something by accident. But I really liked it. Kind of in line with the Prison Healer series. It reads very YA as far as it's easy to follow. And there's nothing overcomplicated. Like the author doesn't create this magic system that is just so hard to keep track of and so many moving pieces. You learn about the magic system. At the beginning, you get like a really kind of like a decent dose of it and you learn about it. But then you start to learn smaller details about the magic system that even Viridia doesn't know. But you're learning them through her. And I think that makes it much easier to digest as you read the rest of the story because you gathered what you really needed at the beginning, but then throughout the rest of the story, you're gathering those smaller details that kind of bring everything full circle. Mind you, it's going to be a duology, so it does end on a cliffhanger, but I really enjoyed it. I think I just really like Lynette Noni, though. Because as I was reading The Shadow Reaper, I was thinking about the Prison Healer series and how I kind of wanted to reread it. I may reread it because I genuinely like her writing. I like her world building. I love her characters. And I love the way that she has her characters interacting with each other. Like the relationships between them. She does a really good job of fleshing everything out to the degree that you need it to be fleshed out in order to understand the story and connect to the story, in my opinion. Like, at no point in time was there an info dump. It also doesn't feel like she's telling me what needs to happen and who's going where. It very much so felt like I was watching a story unfold, not being told a story, if that makes sense. Okay, I needed to get water. I had to present something at work today. I didn't have to, but I was kind of encouraged to. And I don't like public speaking. I get really nervous, which is so funny because I'm literally talking, but I'm just talking to my camera. And like, I know that the people that watch these videos are cool. And like, I don't know, like I just am not scared. But when I have to speak in front of like my colleagues or something like that, I do get really, really nervous. I've always hated public speaking. Those are all the books in May that I read via my Kindle, right? So now we can get right into the rest of it at this point. What are we going to start off with? Oh, going off the top. This was sent to me by Orbit, and I was really excited about it because it's been a really long time since I received any type of publisher mail. And I was just, I don't know, it was just exciting to get something in the mail for once after a really long time. But A Kiss of Crimson Ash is kind of perfect for June if you celebrate Pride Month or like if you purposely set out books to read for Pride Month. I would highly recommend A Kiss of Crimson Ash. You follow 4 different characters. You have the first, Tara, and she is a princess becoming a queen of her kingdom, right? And then you also follow, what's his name? I can never remember his name, bro. Garjon. And he is a prince from a different kingdom. And Garjon and Tara are betrothed to each other. And they're trying to create an alliance between these two kingdoms. So they're betrothed to each other, except Tara really doesn't have any interest in Garjon. Like, she doesn't even really truly want to be queen. Like, she doesn't feel prepared for it. But especially, she's not attracted to Garjon like that. And he, coming into this betrothal, coming into this marriage, already has feelings for somebody else. So it was a very interesting dynamic. Off rip, he kind of tells her, like, I really don't expect very much of you. I just want us to be friends, and I promise that I'll protect you. And I really liked him for that. I don't like him for the rest of the story, though. As in, like, he's not my favorite, but I don't hate him or anything. And then one of the other point of views is Roland. And Roland has a connection to Garjon and the fourth character as well. But he's like a thief. He's like a petty street thief kind of guy. But he has a lot of connections. He's really cool. I really liked Roland, actually. You get to know him a little bit more towards the end of the story. In the beginning, you don't get a lot from him. And then the fourth point of view is Badiah. I'm not sure how to say her name. That's my girl. That's my girl. I love her. I love her. Ooh. Stop it. Angela, stop it. Get your shit together. I really liked her. She's a courtesan, and she has a connection to Roland and to Garjon at the beginning of the story. And by the end of the story, you realize that there is also a connection to Tara. I really hope her name is Tara, because that's what I keep calling her. Yeah, Tara. I might be saying it wrong, but that's her name. And it came with this like really cool character art too. I loved it. Anyways, these 4 players, all separate at the beginning, start to slowly converge and come closer to each other. And at the end of the day, what they're trying to do is save the world, basically. They're trying to save the world from this really, really evil person with really, really, really bad intentions. And when I tell you that the author did a fantastic job of making the villain so villainous, so evil, to the point where I was stressed. I was stressed. I was like, how are we going to beat him? How are we going to get rid of this? Mind you, this is part of a series. So there is closure for one part of the plot in this book, but it definitely does leave on a cliffhanger for the next book, which I really liked. But I just really liked these characters. I liked these characters. I liked the fact that they were discovering themselves. Tara comes to learn why she isn't attracted to Garjon and who she really is attracted to. And Garjon and Badiah are both they're learning about themselves separate from each other. But my favorite part is the fact that there's no power imbalance between these characters and couples. There really isn't, because, okay, he might be a prince and maybe she's a queen. Badiah, oh, she's just a courtesan. But also, like, my girl has a hidden ability, like a hidden magic that is incredible. And when you learn about it, it is so unexpected. It was so much fun in that scene. I reread that chapter like 2 times because I was like, this is so much fun. I really liked it. I really liked it. I liked the writing. I liked the fact that the moments between the characters, like the physical moments, it was more so about the passion between the characters, between the couples, and 2 people coming together and rekindling that passion, or maybe setting it ablaze, or maybe learning each other and learning what each other likes and what each other knows and understands so far. I just really liked the way that the romance lines were built on passion and they weren't just built on the physical, if that makes sense. The thing that really sealed the deal for me when it comes to a Kiss of Crimson Ash was the fact that you have 3 lines of romance. There are 3, I had to think about them, 3 lines of romance going on in conjunction with this really like high stakes, epic plot. Like the conflict was out of this world. At no point in time did the romance drag down or take away from the plot. Like both of them existed so well together throughout the entire first book in this series that like the expectations are so high for the next book. They're so high for every romantasy that comes after this at this point, because it was incredible to merge that many lines of romance, those many characters with such a strong plot that requires like a lot of fleshing out in order for the reader to feel like they understand and to feel immersed, to have that all come together so cohesively. Incredible. Incredible. And this is, I don't know if I said it, but this is perfect for June. Gotta get that hydration in. Next one is Then She Was Gone. Lisa Jewell is one of Sheldina's favorite thriller authors. So when I decided that I needed a break from the romantasy and the romance, I've been in a black hole of fantasy romance and romance. I decided to read Then She Was Gone. This is really good. I do think it's very slow paced though. In my opinion, I felt like it took a long time for all of the pieces of the story to like start to come together, but it wasn't boring. And it wasn't so slow to the point where I was like, oh my God, you're dragging this out. It wasn't like that. It was slow. Like I got to understand the main character, Laurel, and I got to kind of see some of the relationships playing out. You also get flashbacks, which give you a lot of kind of insight into why they're behaving the way they are now, I really liked it, and I didn't tell you what it was about. Laurel's daughter, Ellie, goes missing. She's a teenager. She's walking to the library, I think, or something. And this girl just disappears off the face of the earth. They can't catch her in footage or anything like that. And then like 10 years later, Laurel is at a coffee shop and she meets this guy, which, okay, fine. He was really creepy at the beginning. And when she meets his daughter, she's like, why does your daughter look like my daughter? Mind you, there's 10 years difference. So the little girl obviously isn't Ellie, but why does she look so much like Ellie? And just watching that all unravel and unfold was actually kind of crazy. And I think there was a point where I started to kind of guess what was going on, but I was never right. Like, I was never fully right about what happened. Like, the author did the plot reveal really well, because I don't think it was a twist. It was more so of like a reveal. I especially enjoyed watching Laurel kind of question herself and question her reality, but still forge forward to find the closure that she needed. She at no point in time just laid down and said, yeah, whatever you say goes. She was like, I think there's something more here. I need to know what really happened. And I can't change anything, but at least I can know. And I appreciated it. I thought that representation in here of a parent who went through something really traumatic and it just needs the closure, I thought it was realistic, and I thought that it made sense for Laurel. That poor woman. That's all I'm gonna say. Next up, we have the 2 rereads that I did in the month of May of my favorite romance books. The first one is Love in Other Words. I love this. This is a second chance romance. Macy's mom passes away, and then her and her dad start going to this like cabin for summer. Not just for the summers, though. It seems like they kind of go for like weekends and stuff like that. Anyways, they go to this cabin. The first time they go to check out the cabin, Elliot is sitting in the closet of the room that Macy wants, and he's reading, and they become best friends. And they were kids at the time. Something happened, and they went their separate ways. Unfortunately, they broke contact. Elliot and Macy have a history, right? They have a past already. And as adults, when they meet again, they have to decide what parts of their past are they going to continue to build on and what parts of their past have to stay in the past. Like, we can't keep going back to that. We got to move forward at this point. They both are in such different places in their lives, and they have to figure out like how willing they are to let the other in. I just really appreciate that vulnerability in characters, especially in romances, because it's realistic and it's relatable. It's so scary. Even if you knew that person before, it's so scary to look at somebody and say, I'm going to let you in, and I don't know if you're going to hurt me. I don't know if you're going to hurt me. I love that so much. And I loved everything about Macy and Elliot too. They were such a good couple, and they were such good friends. They were so good at being friends to each other that when they started to become romantically involved, it just felt natural and organic. It never felt forced. And it was just a beautiful story. And I loved Macy's relationship with her dad. I'm not going to cry. They really did have such a relatable, realistic father-daughter relationship for a family that lost the matriarch. Like, I loved it. Chef's kiss. I probably will reread this again next spring. Like, I can see myself rereading it again and again. The other reread for the month of May, that's the month we're talking about, was The Well of Winnipeg and Me. This is my favorite of all time contemporary romance. Nothing will ever come close. I did love in Other Words a lot. This is my favorite romance of all time. Like, this is number one. This is number one. Everything that comes after it are my favorites as well, but this is the only one. Like, if you said you're only allowed to take one romance book off your shelves, and that's the only one you're allowed to read for the rest of your life, it's right here. It's right here in my hands. I'm holding it right now. I'm not going to think about it. It's right there. In this story, you follow Vanessa and Aiden. Vanessa is Aiden's personal assistant. He's a football player, but he's Canadian. So he's in America on a visa to play football. And she's his assistant for like 2 years, I think, at the beginning of the book. And then she quits. She says, I'm done with you. I want to start my own business. And also, Aiden's not very warm and welcoming or friendly to her. It's just like the most basic level of respect, but really nothing else between the two of them. She quits, and he comes back to her, and he's like, no, you need to come back. I need you. I can't survive without you. Like, I don't know how to do anything without you. She's like, nah, I ain't coming back. And then it develops into him coming back and being like, I need you to marry me so I can keep my visa, so I can keep playing football. And what I'll do is I'll pay off your student loans and I'll buy you a house at the end. And Vanessa, being a smart woman, is like, okay, that's fine. Because he's not a bad person. He just is so closed off from everybody and anything around him. And football is the only thing he cares about. But Vanessa makes him question whether football can continue to be his number one priority. And I love that. I really love the relationship between Vanessa and Aiden. And I love the way that it plays out. It plays out so beautifully. And at no point in time does Vanessa lose who she is. At no point in time does she change herself just to fit the mold that Aiden might want, right? She continues to be Vanessa. And she looks Aiden in the eyes every single day and she goes, "You gonna be nice to me or you gonna be nice to me?" And Aiden's like, "That's my wife." You should watch the reading vlog. You should watch the reading vlog for this one because I'm pretty sure the beginning of it is me just fucking like kicking my feet and cackling. I love this story so much. Again, the vulnerability between the characters. Vanessa has a really tough like family dynamic, I guess we'll call it. And she, you know, unfortunately that caused a little bit of trauma for her. And she has to interact with somebody who doesn't give a fuck about anything besides himself and football. But slowly through Vanessa's like selflessness and just motivation, like she's such a cool ass girl. Like I love her so much. Aiden starts to kind of open up again, or well, open up in general. And he starts to have a different perspective on things, on Vanessa, their relationship, on football, on life in general. And it just is really wonderful. And there's a scene where he tells somebody, "Touch my wife again and I'm gonna break every bone in your goddamn body." And I screamed. I scrumped. It was so good. I love the wall of Winnipeg in me. I love Mariana Zapata. It's such a slow burn. Such a slow burn. It's her slow burns are just so excruciating, but it's self-inflicted and I'm gonna keep doing it every single time. Every single time. Like if you ever want to read a slow burn contemporary romance, you need to pick up a Mariana Zapata book. Like it's going to change your life. I hope it changes your life because this one changed my life. I'm trying to get comfortable on my couch and it's not working. So we're gonna have to pause for a second because Ange don't like to be uncomfortable. Anyways, what did we just talk about? The Wall of Winnipeg and me. Okay, next up. Annihilation. I think I read this in... I don't think that reading vlog is up yet. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said that, but I did read this in a reading vlog too. It's a science fiction. I think it's a science fiction horror, in my opinion, because there is just something about this book that makes you feel like something's crawling up your back the entire time. Like it makes you feel like you know when you get in the car and you feel like there's something around your ankle and you're like, oh, and it turns out it was like a hair, right? Or like a little bit of wind or something like that. But you're bugging. That's how this book made me feel. Like what is actually going on? What is actually going on? Can anybody in the book tell me what's going on? Because I'm actually scared, but I don't know what I'm scared of. That's how this book made me feel. You follow 4 women who go on an expedition into Area X, and they, I think, are the 12th expedition. Every expedition prior to that has not gone well. For some reason, they seem to think that women are the best candidates to send into Area X. That's all you know. You don't know any names. They're just referred to by their position, and the person that you follow in this book is the biologist. Her husband previously went into Area X, and that plays a role into why she's now in Area X, but basically... You have these 4 women, they enter Area X, and then things just start to literally unravel, like, quickly. Like, think about if you drop the roll of paper towels on the ground and it just rolls until it, like, there's nothing to stop it. It's that exact same vibe, but just in a book. And Area X is doing something. Either it's warping and it's changing, or it's affecting the women's perception of Area X. There's something going on and it's so trippy and it's so uncanny. Like when the author is describing what the biologist is looking at, sometimes it feels uncanny. Like she's been looking at it for so long that she's starting to pick up on the fact that it's not right. Or is she just not seeing what's actually there? I can't tell you. I really liked it. However, I did watch the movie a couple of times because I really liked the movie. I didn't know it was based on a book. And I think I prefer the movie. I feel like in the book, the biologist is the main character. So you get so much of her and her mind unraveling, and maybe she's losing it or maybe she's finding it. You don't know. You get so much of her that I feel like Area X takes the back seat as a character. But in the movie, Area X is the main character. And I think I prefer that because it was, To me, the most interesting part of this story is Area X. What is it doing? What is Area X? Did something happen there and now it's changing, or does it do something to people? Like, that's what I enjoyed. And you get a little bit of that in the book, but the majority of the book is the biologist reacting to Area X. So I would recommend it if you like or are looking for a cosmic horror. I would recommend it because you genuinely have no idea what you're scared of in this book. I can't tell you what was freaking me out, but I was freaked all the way out. So it is really good. And the author does this really cool thing where, like, as the biologist is, I guess, quote unquote, losing it, the writing kind of starts to unravel as well. Like, the writing starts to become a little bit more jumpy. Like, it starts to jump all over the place. And at first I didn't understand what was going on. And then I realized the biologist's perception was unraveling and the author made the writing unravel as well. Like, you really do get immersed into the biologist's kind of reaction to Area X. Like, you feel it through her perspective. And I thought that was incredible. I thought that was incredible because it wasn't jarring and it was done in a way where the writing quality didn't decrease. If anything, that made the writing even better because the fact that you could change your flow mid-story like that was incredible to me. I thought it was so cool. The biologist was such a fucking weirdo though. Like, you could tell from the get that she was there for something else other than to just research because she was just being so fucking shady from the beginning. And when you find out the real reason why she's there, it's like, girl, you should have told everybody first because I wouldn't have agreed to go with you if you had told me why you were there. We're almost done. I'm sorry. I have to keep getting up to check stuff. But next up is Nightshade and Oak by Molly O'Neill. Sorry. The other book that Molly O'Neill wrote is Green Teeth, and I really like that one. Highly recommend. But in Nightshade and Oak, this one is based on Celtic mythology. You have what's her name? Malch? I don't know how to pronounce it. I did the audiobook and it was fantastic because there were a lot of things that I wasn't going to say correctly based on the way I thought they were, like, the way that I thought it was supposed to be said. The goddess of death is the main character in this book, and she accidentally gets turned into a human by a princess warrior. This princess warrior and her then go on a journey to save the princess's sister's soul. They got to get the soul back so they can put it back in her body, but also to turn the goddess of death back into a goddess because she got turned into a mortal. And I really liked her. I thought that her reaction to being turned into a human was so funny, but also, like, realistic. Like, she was such a whitey human, but it's like, she was immortal before. She was the goddess of death before. Why would she be anything but whiny being turned into a human? A petty little human at that. I really liked it. Again, representation in this one is incredible. I think it's perfect for June, for Pride Month. But also, this story took a slightly darker turn than Green Teeth did, in my opinion. I felt like in this story, you dealt with a lot more trauma, like past trauma and trauma being inflicted too. I just really like the way Molly O'Neill writes their stories because there is this sense of grittiness to them, but there's still banter. Like, the characters have such good banter, and when they're ribbing at each other, it's really funny and it feels natural for them. And this one, just like in Green Teeth, you get to watch two strong women become friends and work together. And yeah, sometimes they butt heads and stuff like that, but their relationship was just, it was wonderful. It's such a girl's girl book. She's such a girl's girl. All the characters in this are girls. And Molly, I don't know if Molly goes by they or she. It says she in the book. She's a girl's girl. Like, she is, because the way that she writes her female characters is just incredible. And they are the focal point. Like, these guys in these two books, side characters, side thoughts, don't even worry about them. The main female characters, those are the only characters you need to worry about. And I really enjoyed it. I really liked it. And it's really short too. Like, it's incredible to me how she packs such an incredible story to such a short amount of pages. Because Green Teeth is not much bigger than this either. And again, that story was so much fun. That one was a little bit less dark than Nightshade and Oak, but I love that one too. I loved Jenny and Tempest so much. And the little what is he, like a goblin or a leprechaun or something? I thought he was funny. Again, he's just a side character, but he was funny. Oh, shit. I read Punk 57 in the month of May. We're going to get through this one real quick. I should have never finished this book. I never should have finished it. This is marketed as an enemies to lovers new adult romance. These are kids and they're in high school. These are kids in high school, and this is very much so what I would categorize as a dark romance. Do with that what you will. I never should have finished it, but I did, thinking like maybe there'd be a message, some redeeming quality. No, there wasn't. The things that the guy, what's his name? Misha. The things that Misha said to Ryan is the female main character. Fucking repulsive. They were repulsive and disgusting, and the fact that you even think to use those words is a problem to me. Not necessarily that you're directing it at me, but that you would even think to use them, that they're in your vocabulary. I don't like that. Like, I didn't like it at all. They were pen pals when they were kids, and then something happens and they stop writing each other. And then Misha ends up in the same school that Ryan goes to, and he learns that Ryan is not who she claimed to be in the letters. And that makes them enemies, right? I hated it. And I'm really disappointed in the fact that, again, this is marketed as a new adult. It's not. These are young adult. These are kids. They're kids, in my opinion. I'm sorry. If you're 17 years old, you're a kid. If you're in high school, you're a kid. You have not experienced enough of life to be calling yourself an adult. I'm so sorry. Not what these characters went through. They were not adults. They were children, and I just really didn't like it. I really didn't like it, and I only have this book so far because I was waiting to do my wrap-up, but I can't wait to get rid of this shit because, like, no. And that's the first book of that author that I've ever read. I'm never touching another book of theirs again. I'm sorry. If you thought it was okay to write a YA dark romance and then market it as a new adult dark romance, I'm all set. Thank you. Bye. Now, to end on a good note, though, The Midnight Train. It was so fucking good. Okay, sorry. It was so good. If you haven't read The Midnight Library, I highly encourage you to read that one first. I don't think you have to. You don't have to. But having read both of them, I would recommend that you read The Midnight Library first because there's like a little tiny bit of overlap. Just tiny bit. But in this book, you follow Wilbur, and he's in his 80s, and he has passed away. That happens at the beginning of the book. He passed away. And then he's sent to this train, literally. It's a train where he gets to watch his life flash before his eyes. He gets to see how he lived his life. And the intention of this train is just for him to see how he lived, for him to kind of get that, what's it called? He gets to have a perspective of his life that he wouldn't have had because he's on the outside of it now, right? And the lady that's on the train with him is Agnes, and she used to be a bookshop owner that he would go to when he was a kid. And you figure out there's a connection that goes deeper than that later on, too. Wilbur makes some decisions that he regrets. And he only regrets them because he can see himself making them, and he can see the consequences of those decisions. And it was such a beautiful story, and I'm not gonna cry. It was so beautiful. You know, we don't get that option. Like, we don't get to get on a train and see our life flash before our eyes and decide like, oh, I should have never done that. Let me go back and fix it or whatever. You know, like, we don't get that kind of perspective. But I think it still remains true. If you stop to think about your loved ones, to think even about yourself, if you stop and take the time to think about what aftermath you could be facing from a decision that you're making right now in the moment, sometimes that's all it takes for you to realize, like, I don't actually want to do that. I don't actually think that's going to end well for me. I think I'd rather do this instead. Wilbur, of course, like I said, he has the privilege of getting to view his life and then figure out like, oh shit, I should have done something different. I should have not done this thing or done that thing instead. And I just think it's beautiful. There's something about the way that Matt Haig writes. It feels like every word is handcrafted, handpicked to hit me directly in my soul. I don't even know how to explain it, but just the way that he writes his characters, and they're so real. Like, Wilbur is a real person in my brain. This is a real man who He had a very beautiful marriage for a while and he let something go wrong. And then he passes away and he's by himself when he dies. And he has to sit there and come to terms with the fact that he let himself die by himself. You know what I mean? Like, he's such a real character to me. And I loved his development. His development while he's on the train is a lot like Nora's development when she's in the library. Like, these are characters who are realizing they only had one life to live. They only had the one life to live. And they have to come to terms with the fact that they maybe are not that happy with how they live that life. Why are you tearing up? You already read the book. I love Matt Haig. I love Matt Haig. When I read The Midnight Library, I was not in a good mental space. I was not. And reading Nora's story, I just felt seen. Reading Nora's story, I didn't feel... There's something so isolating about depression and anxiety and bipolar disorder. There's just something so isolating about mental health illness. And even though you know in your brain, in reality, that there are other people that live with it just like you do, in the moment, you feel like you are on a fucking island and it's suffocating. And when I read Nora's book, I felt seen. I was like, this character knows how I feel right now. Like, she's going through some of the things I'm going through. It just felt like there was a little bit of like company in that isolating feeling, right? And when I read The Midnight Train, no, I haven't been married, and no, I didn't suffer a heart attack and pass away, but I have so many moments where I feel like, am I doing enough? Am I doing enough for my daughter? She's always my priority. I can't help but put myself on the back burner, but like, am I doing enough for her? Am I giving her the best life I possibly can within the means that we have, right? Should I be doing more? Should I be doing less? And sometimes that is fucking suffocating. It's exhausting to constantly question everything you're doing and whether or not you're doing it right. And I don't have the privilege of seeing the future to know if my kid turns out okay in 15 years. You know what I mean? Like, I don't get that. I just have to do the best I can in this moment. And I felt that through, like, I felt seen through Wilbur. Like, very different, obviously, because it's a fictional story, but was he doing enough in his life? Was he giving his loved ones enough love and attention? And was he putting enough effort into his own life? And it really just, that's the part that like breaks through my walls. And that's the reason why Matt Haig's books just like speak to me. It's like, you can't help but feel like there's somebody with you in this feeling that you kind of hate, but also it's just part of the human experience. You can't run away from it. And I really loved it. I really, really, really loved this story. I thought it was beautiful. I loved Wilbur. I loved Agnes, Maggie. Charlie, like, such incredible characters, such an incredible story to tell. And the way that it's told, the way that it just like, his words, his characters just like burrow into your fucking heart and like create a space for themselves. They open you up no matter what. And I just really fucking love his book so far. And I love both of these books equally. I love The Midnight Library for what it gave me in that moment that I read it the first time. And I love The Midnight Train for what it fed me in the moment that I read it the first time. They're incredible. And I really hope there's something else in this universe because... please. I just really want to read another Midnight Universe book. I have something else by Matt Haig. I think it's The Life Impossible or something like that. And I really want to read How to Stop Time as well. So yeah, he's an auto-buy author. I bought a hardcover book on release date. He's an auto-read author for me. Incredible storytelling, incredible character work, incredible writing. The narration was phenomenal. That narrator just like aced it, nailed it. Give them awards for their performance in reading The Midnight Library. It was incredible. It literally touched my heart and soul. All right, now that we have concluded the wrap-up portion of today's video, let's go over some of the books that I want to read in the month of June. I don't do TBRs. As soon as I say I'm going to read XYZ in the month of June, my brain says, we don't want to read that. We want to read everything else except for that. So it's very much so a June hopefuls list, but they are all books on my physical TBR that I would really love to get to this month, just to say that I read 5 or 6 books off my TBR. It's too many books over there. It's way too many. And at some point this summer, we will be moving. So I need to be thinking ahead a little bit of the fact that I've got to move all those books. So if I can get through some of them and maybe unhaul the ones that don't speak to me, that's less books to move. But also, I want to buy more books, and I can't buy more books until I start reading my own books. It's a mess. Anyways, I am doing the audiobook for To Ride a Rising Storm. I got this from NetGalley. This came out at the beginning of the year. I was approved for the ARC, and I never, ever got to it. And that's on me. But I have the audiobook, and I really liked the first book as well. I think this series actually in general is kind of perfect for June, for Pride Month, because there is so much representation. There is so much representation across the board, not just when it comes to Pride Month, but I'm really enjoying the second book so far. The narrator is incredible. They do such a good job of bringing the characters to life and giving what they're saying such emotion. I'm thoroughly enjoying it, but I'm hoping to finish this via audiobook in the month of June. I also did start, I've got to get the stack from under here, the Bone season. Sam and Lou have, especially Lou, they have gone on about how incredible this series is and how much they love it. So I'm really excited. I'm only 50 pages in though, so I don't really have much to say. This is kind of dystopian, and Paige is a clairvoyant, but there's like different types of clairvoyant. It's really cool. It's giving me a slightly similar vibe to Mistborn in the fact that they are all, oh my God, what are they called? I can't remember what they're called right now, but the metals. Certain people can use certain metals better than other, and some people can use multiple metals and stuff like that. It's kind of giving me like a similar vibe, like a similar breakdown to the magic system. I'm really enjoying it so far. I did try to do with the audiobook, but the cadence of the narrator is like not, I can't make it work in my brain no matter how much I speed it up or slow it down. So I think I'm just going to eyeball read it. And unfortunately, I'm going to have to fumble through the pronunciation of things, but I am enjoying it so far. So long shot. What I really wanted to read in the month of June was Score, because Sheldina did a review on it on Instagram, and I want to read it. I want to read Score. I'm not buying any books, and the library didn't have it. So I went with Long Shot, which I'm not disappointed at the fact that I'm reading Long Shot. I'm just disappointed at the fact that I can't go buy Score. So I'm going to read Long Shot by Kennedy Ryan. I've said that 4 times, but I have high hopes for it. I really like the effort that Kennedy Ryan puts into her stories. Like, you can tell that she's pouring bits of herself into these stories. And I like that. I like that. And I know that there's triggering content in this, like really, I guess, what could be really triggering for some people, but I have full faith that Kennedy Ryan handles it in the best way possible, you know, without traumatizing me further. So I'm actually really excited for Long Shot. Another one that I picked up from a mutual. This is actually from Steph, and she has a channel, Coffee Over Apples, as well. There is no antimemetics division. I sampled the audio a couple of weeks ago when I first got this. Really liked it because there's like log notes at the beginning of the story, and then there's the actual story itself. I really like the way the audiobook was split up, so I'm excited for this, and it's not super long. I've heard really good things about this one too. It's a sci-fi. I don't know if it goes into like the thriller genre or horror genre, but I know it's a sci-fi for sure. I wanted a thriller or horror just to break up all the fantasy and the romance. I wanted some type of thriller or horror, so I'm going to go with The Lost Village by Camilla Sten. The back of it says, The Blair Witch Project meets Midsummer in this brilliantly disturbing thriller from Camilla Sten, an electrifying new voice and suspense. They are not alone. They're looking for the truth, but what if it finds them first? Come find out. I'm excited to read it. I hope that it gives me what I want, because the Blair Witch Project immediately had my attention. I like that kind of stuff, so. And then the last one on this hopefuls list, which I don't think I'll have any issue getting to, is Glass Sword. This is the second book in the Red Queen series. I think in one of those reading vlogs I read the Red Queen too. I just don't know if I ever like actually posted it because I'm super behind. I really liked Red Queen. It's very YA, like nostalgic YA fantasy series, high as fuck stakes, and there's just a bunch of kids running around and they're gonna save the world. And I had a great time with it. I had a fantastic time. I loved Mare. I truly loved her so much. And the end of Red Queen had my jaw on the ground. I was incredibly upset with the author at the end of Red Queen. I said, well, you didn't need to do that to me. You didn't have to go that far. Fantastic. So those are the books I want to read in the month of June. If you've read any of them, hype me up. But also, if any of the books I read during the month of May, if any of those call to you, let me know if you've read them and if you like them, even if you hated them, except for The Wall of Winnipeg and Me. No slander allowed. I'm sorry. If you didn't like it, you can't tell me. I'm so sorry. That's the one book that I have that rule with. You cannot tell me that you didn't like The Wall of Winnipeg and Me, because I will cry. You guys see how easy it is for me to just break out in tears. Don't do it. Don't do it, Daniel. I don't know where that came from. Anyways, thank you so much for hanging out with me in today's video. I appreciate the support, and I will see you for the next one. As always, happy reading.